Let's go back to our top story now, where we are looking at a story of allegations around the rape of a 2-year-old, and we're going to be talking about the legal implications here. What happens if there's anybody found responsible? Because you would have heard from the hospital CEO, there are investigations in that particular point. There's also a criminal investigation that is currently underway, and I'm joined by Ian Allis from Allis Attorneys just to take us through some of those of the litigation that we could be expecting to see here. Ian, thank you so much for talking to us this afternoon. Let's just start here. If you get a matter like this, where do you begin to investigate?
Hi, Bongiwe, and hi to the viewers as well. At the outset, when you deal with a matter like this, the first port of call has got to be through the police services. There has to be, there must be a charge laid of sexual assault on a minor, even if you don't know who the suspect is. So you need to refer it on to the police for investigation. But we're also, for the child's perspective, the child needs to undergo counselling and also be referred to the CCTV clinic for assistance in the matter. When dealing with these matters, it also becomes an issue of the forensics that has to be properly coordinated and processed for any DNA to assist and see whether or not there has been certain DNA within the system, and the investigation must be completed. Because when you report it to the police, automatically there should be a child protection service unit and sexual offences unit within that specific police station. But unfortunately, due to, if one could go ahead and say, limited resources, there are then the designated centres that these type of matters get referred to for investigation. But that's where the first point of call has got to be, is to lay the charge and for the child to be processed. And that must be done within a shorter period as possible.
And now this matter, as we're hearing from the hospital CEO, it's said to have happened on the eve of June 16th. Does that then prejudice this case in any way? Because you're saying that the tests, and the examination must be done as timeously as possible.
In this case, it will, because unfortunately you're dealing with a very young child. And the prospect of that child being able to give credible evidence, but at 2 years old, the child's is not even capable of speaking, let alone easily identifying who their attacker is. So the ultimate problem that starts with that is that unless there's witnesses and our witness testimony to assist in the charges of perhaps seeing the suspect and seeing who the alleged rapist is, you're going to find it very difficult based on non-DNA based evidence, and that's going to be, and that's why it's become so prolific in regards with child abuse in these type of circumstances of particularly young children, because of their inability to ever be able to give evidence. But that's why there also needs to be that element of counselling to the teddy bear clinic and the associated designated social workers and child protection services to assist the child in also dealing with what is an actual fact happened.
And let's talk about the role that CCTV cameras would then play, because it doesn't look like there might be that evidence currently.
Well, that's a major problem with regard to your security isn't there. And you say, obviously, people can't be expected to be patrolling 24/7. But that's why you have the CCTV cameras. They're supposed to assist with the evidence so that you can at least, albeit circumstantially, link the time of the attack to seeing if anybody was actually entering and try and create some sort of identity profiling on the person, so that you can at least maybe investigate the matter properly, whether it's an employee, a fellow patient, whoever it actually was. Because fingerprinting is not going to go ahead and help in a situation like this 3 weeks down the line. And there's certainly not going to be any DNA from even your victim cannot testify. so that the imperative that the CCTV cameras in actual fact are properly working to help identify your suspect.
So is it a clear criminal matter? Because police are saying they're investigating, the hospital is saying that it's doing its own internal investigation, or could the possibility of a civil lawsuit here, be looked into?
Of course. The difference is it's two different onuses, and it's two different aspects of the law. One is going to be the sexual assault on a minor, which is in terms of our criminal procedure and our statutory laws as well as our common law. In the other aspect, it's against the hospital, the breach of their duty of care to protect their patient. Realistically, the COVID pandemic aside, it kind of becomes irrelevant from the aspect of you owe a duty of care to make sure that your infants are properly protected and that this type of situation doesn't happen. So technically, there is a lawsuit in regards to the breach of the care, as far as the legal damages go, against the hospital, and if it is indeed and if it's a public hospital, obviously against the MEC.
And against police, particularly when you look at the fact that they may have been given the runaround here?
Unfortunately, when it comes to very little callback with regard to the police on this. The fact that there's been, whether there has or hasn't been a failure to properly investigate the criminal charges, that you can always direct a complaint to ARPIT for them to independently evaluate what took place in the circumstances as far as the investigation went. But the biggest problem is that if they are given the runaround, with the lack of resources and the protection of the possible suspect, the police are also at the same time being jeopardized. But then if the investigation hasn't in actual fact been conducted in a proper and diligent sense, then they should in actual fact be taken to ARPIT, have the matter investigated. If there is any impropriety on behalf of the police, then in that way there could be potential civil lawsuit against them for their failures and their inability to protect the public.
Thank you so much, Ian Allis. There, it does look like this is going to be one of those complicated investigations here. That's Ian Allis, who is from Allis Attorneys, just taking us through some of the options here and where do you begin to even investigate a case like this one.